Welcome to the rebuild of Barcelona in FM24, but this is not your average rebuild. We're going full realism. That means an 100% accurate hansi flick tactic, every transfer exactly as it happened in real life, and every future signing or sale has to pass the ultimate test. Would this actually happen at Barca? This is a 5-year journey where the goal is simple: dominate Spain, lift as many trophies as possible, and bring the Champions League back to the Camp Nou again and again. Or should I say, the Spotify Stadium. Oh, and if you want to try this yourself, the full save file and tactic are up on my Patreon, currently 40% off as we celebrate the beta, fingers crossed, released very, very soon. Make sure you go and check it out, but more importantly, drop a little comment on the rebuild you want to see in next year's game, because we are getting there. It's nearly time for FM26. So then, Barcelona inside of FM26, of course, we are coming to the latter stage of this game. Finally, as we do approach FM26, I want to say FM26 a few more times this video, but it's good news, and we are still in a situation where we can have fun and rebuild a big club like Barcelona, using realism and sort of getting some of their older players out, bringing some of their sort of younger players up through the ranks, and hopefully seeing what we can do over a 5-year window. And if you do enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe as always. Now, they are a club where the owners absolutely love them. The finances, of course, are okay, but there is a lot of debt surrounding the club, so we're not going to go crazy with transfers. We've got a lot of players that are younger that, of course, we are going to discuss very, very shortly, who will pretty much see us through a lot of this rebuild. When we look at the sort of star, reputation, 4.5. Training facilities, youth facilities, both 4.5. Youth recruitment, 5-star. So this team is an absolute, well, it is a Spanish powerhouse team. When you look at the overview, we're talking about 5 Champions Leagues, 3 Club World Championships, 28 Spanish First Divisions, 4 European Cups, 5 Super Cups, 3 Europa Leagues, 31 Spanish Cups, 14 Spanish Super Cups, and 2 Spanish League Cups. They are a serial winning team, but this has been recorded the day after their game against Paris Saint-Germain, and they're a team that still can be beaten, so there is still a lot of work to be done. Now, we are going to be using the latest database, so we are going to go through all of the transfers in a brief moment, but before, let's talk about my aim, what we expect to do. Firstly, one of my big aims is to go and clear a lot of this debt, because that is one of the burdens as playing as Barcelona, or being a Barcelona fan, I would imagine, is knowing you've got quite a fair bit of debt in that club that you love so dearly. Competitions, we are playing in not 1, not 2, not 3, but of course 4. The Spanish League, the Champions League, the Spanish Cup, and the Spanish Super Cup. Now, I want to win the Champions League a minimum of 2 to 3 times. I'll take 2, I'm really gunning for 3, because I think we've got a decent team. I know how good this tactic is, and I also know that we can attract some really, really good players. When it comes to the Spanish First Division, the Cup and the Super Cup, I want to win that as frequently as possible. In terms of the Cups, obviously, I think there's a world where we can probably win 4 out of 5 in both of them. The only real competition that I fear is Real Madrid. I think we can top Atletico. I think every other team we can top, but Real Madrid are a very, very good team, and actually, season preview does state we are going to finish behind them, and you can see why. You know, they're a great side, fantastic manager. You look at their tactics, and you know, you can go down to some of their players here. You've got Alaba, Courtois, Militao, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Trent, Diaz, Bellingham, Tuchel, Camavinga, Carvajal, Fran Garcia, Valverde, Mbappe, Rudiger. You know, it goes on and on and on and on. They've got a very, very good team, as do we. So it is really a battle of 2 Spanish gladiators just going at it over a 5-year span. We've talked about that. We've talked about the finances. Before we talk about the tactic and the team, who's gone? Who's come in? Well, the first outgoing is going to be Pau Victor for 12 million euro in real life. He does go to Braga. Now, this is a player that I actually would have probably moved on anyway. Would he have been good for a backup player? Potentially, but considering 12 million euro was gained for him, I think it's great for his career. He's still young enough to really become a real top player. The Portuguese league, of course, is a little bit easier than the Spanish league, and 12 million euro, I believe, is quite a fair price. You know, he's been a player that has been in Spain his entire career, so to see him actually go to a Portuguese team is something nice for him, a bit of a switch up. We also are going to sell Alex Vale for €6 million. Now, this is a player that I actually believe to be a really, really good option. And over time, maybe by the 4th season, I could have used him. But simply in real life, they don't need him. They've got really, really good options. And Como are a pretty exciting project, or Como should I say. So I can see why he'd want to go. And $6 million, although the value's a lot more in the game, in real life, it's actually quite a fair price. Next up is going to be Pablo Torre. Now, this is a very interesting one because I've had a lot of success with this guy this year in smaller team rebuilds, and I know how good he can be, but looking at the team on paper, of course, you've got Gavi, Pedri, Olmo. How much game time would this guy get? Especially when you've got Bernal, Casado, you've got these sorts of players. How much game time would he get? And that's the reason why I think they sold him in real life. Now, they got $5 million for him, which I think potentially, if I was to sell him in the game, we could get more about 17 to 18. And it's a player that I'm not going to say I love to sell because there is a world where he would have got into the team somewhere for at least a few games. But of course, as Realism, I've got to follow what they do. Pretty old news now, but of course Longley is going to go to Atletico. The only thing I don't like about this is obviously sending him to another Spanish powerhouse team. Definitely a bit of a step back in the game anyway from Real and us, of course. Now, I can see why you get rid of him, because he's a bit older. He's losing that acceleration. He's a little bit sluggish. But I just really don't like it when you send him to a competitor. That's what I don't like. Last player going on the free is going to be Martinez. Now, I'm completely on board with this. The guy is 34. He still looks quite good in terms of the mental and the technical side. But even if I had this guy, I would, 1, not be able to match that wage because he's 34. And 2, I'd have max a year out of him. So I'm not too fussed about that. Signing 1 is going to be Joan Garcia. In real life, a very good goalkeeper. In this game, not my cup of tea. So we probably won't use him too much. We've got ter Stegen for a few years. Obviously, we've got Szczesny as well, and multiple other goalkeepers that I am going to show you very shortly. Now, in real life, they paid $25 million, which from Espanyol is actually quite fair because you're signing a Spanish player from the Spanish League as a Spanish team. So it's like if you sign from the Premier League and they're English, you get charged a little bit more. Now, is he going to play too much in this save? Most likely not. In real life, could he become a really good goalkeeper? I sure hope so, because their goalkeepers are getting older. This man will be given the fair chance to fight for his position, and I will not be signing many wingers at all. So he has got a really good run to compete with Yamal, with Rafinha, with these sorts of players. And Ronnie Bargi comes in for $2.5 million in real life, which is a absolute steal if they can get him playing to half of the level we see in this video game. Now, how good is he in real life? We're going to have to see over the next few years. But they are really picking up some top young talent, whether they sign it or whether they produce it themselves. This team is looking pretty good for the future. The last player, not one for the future, but for the present, Marcus Rashford. I actually quite like this player a lot, even though I am a United fan. A lot of United fans turned against him. I actually think he'll do really well. He looks very lively already in real life, and there is an option to buy him in real life. And if he does well, I will buy him like I think they would in real life. So I'm very excited to have him into the team. I don't know exactly where he's going to fit because he has got to compete against Yamal, Rafinha, and obviously up front maybe he could play there, but we do have Lewandowski for a season or two depending on when he retires, so it is going to be quite a tough sort of situation for him. It's not going to be easy. He's not guaranteed game time, but it does include and sort of finalise a really good bit of business for us coming in and going out. Now, one player that I will talk about quickly that I have sold on top of this is going to be Christiansen, who I'm going to sell to Al Hilal because there are several rumours about his departure. I don't know exactly what club he's going to go to, so I cashed in 29 million and offloaded Christiansen. And this is going to be what the team looks like with all of that transfer business being completed. Here we go. So we are using the hansi Flick 4231. Again, at any part of this video, you want to get all of these wonderful perks. There is currently 40% off the Patreon going into FM26, where we've got 5 new perks being announced. All of my rebuild files, tactics, and so much more. About 18 perks now. So make sure you go and join the other 6,000 active members, because we're going to have an incredible year next year. Now, looking at this tactic, we know what we get. Of course, if you've watched the PSG game, the higher line really did cost him quite a fair bit. Right towards the end of the game is something that I think he could do with keeping an eye on a little bit more hansi flick. But that's how he plays, you know. Managers are stubborn in their ways, and he does play really, really attractive football. Now, looking at this team, what is the benefit? What is the negative? So if we go, for example, and look at our squad, we go to the age, we have not got too many players in the 30s. We've got quite a young team, which is really, really good to see. The older players are Lewandowski, who's a big player to lose when the time comes. I mean, we're going to lose 3 very, very good players here. 2 fantastic world-class goalkeepers and a world-class striker. Some would say one of the best in his category. So we've got a few older players, but predominantly we have got quite a young team, and the options we've got is absolutely incredible. Now, the back 4 is going to consist of Balde, Garcia, Koundé and Araujo. That is filtered by the best 11 to make that clear. Of course, you could play Araujo at centre-back. Of course, he can play there. And you could play the likes of Hector Fort when he comes back from loan, or we could sign a right-back. To be honest, I might play that, or you can even play Koundé there, you know. The back line is actually quite versatile. The left back, you've got Balde and you've got Hector Fort, you've got Martin as a backup. The midfield is just incredible. You've got Pedri, you've got De Jong, you've got Gavi, you've got Furman, Casado, Bernal. I don't think I'll sign a single midfield player in the deep area for quite a fair few seasons. On the wing, Rafinha, Yamal, Gavi, Rashford, Torres, Furman, Ansu Fati, of course a player that I probably will be offloading permanently because he will not be a Barcelona player. Lewandowski, and then you have got the sort of the interest and shout of Rashford up front, and then that is where we do need to spend a bit of money, who I have got a player in mind that I will not leak. But looking at the age of the players again, we've got a nice pool of players that are from, you know, 27 and down, which is quite good for a 5-year project, because even at 27 there'd be 32 at tops, so that's really, really good to see. Now, players that I think I'm going to sell, pretty recent, or pretty upcoming, should I say, are going to consist of the likes of definitely Ansu Fati, maybe some of these loan players as well. There is rumours about De Jong leaving. I'm not going to let him go right away. Towards the end, when he gets older, I'm not going to say no guaranteed. It all comes down to the offers that I get and whether I sit here and think, I need to sell him to make this realistic. But this tactic is very fun to play. It's very fast-paced. It's a bold, attacking, high-line 4-2-3-1. You've got to go in all guns blazing, and we're going to do that across all 4 competitions. So let's get into Season 1 and see exactly what Barcelona can do. We're going to be right into the Spanish Cup final in Season 1. Now, we do get past Real Madrid in the semis, so this is a real good chance to win it, and we are playing Atletico, who are a good team, but definitely are beatable, and we got off to a great start there inside of 55 minutes, and we are going to go again and play some really good high-intense football, that higher line coming in over the top into an injured Lewandowski, but he still tucks it away. Trophy 1. Fortunately, Real Madrid are going to get revenge in the Spanish Super Cup, as we are going to lose by a goal in added time, where simply Mbappe was just too good. There was no stopping him. So currently it's 1-for-1 on trophies, but make that 2-1, because we are going to go and win the Spanish First Division, which is a really, really good sign. Now, there are a couple of worries. Obviously, how dominant Lewandowski was. He's not going to be here forever. In terms of how we performed, though, we only drop points from 3 games. We get points out of pretty much every game, to be honest. So a really, really good performance, not only from Lewandowski, from ter Stegen, from Rafinha, from Yamal, from pretty much every player you would expect in this team. Now, the issue is Lewandowski, a great player, but he is now retiring already. So we got a bit of, you know, a bit of success with him. Now he's gone, so we've got to replace him in Season 2, which is a big, big gamble on what I do. Do I get Rashford, play him up top? Do I sign another striker? There's a lot of pressure going into Season 2 already. Now, the Champions League, it doesn't show on here, but we are going to bail out in at the semi-finals against, the finals against Man City, which we do lose 3-2. You can see there, a goal from Lewandowski was firing, wasn't he? But it's a good comeback, a very good dramatic win for Man City, but to be honest with you, look at the season's results. We have been a very, very, very good team. I mean, pre-season, we absolutely stormed it. And for Season 1, Spanish Cup winners, Spanish First Division winners, Champions League finalists, runners-up in the Super Cup, I'm going to take that any day. Now, as I keep liking to say to you guys, it did rely a lot around this man. Lewandowski scored 45 goals. You take him from the team, and, you know, you put Marcus Rashford up front, who still does quite well, 22 and 9 to be fair to him. It is half the goals our top goal scorer was getting. 9 and 21 for Rafinha, Olmo 15 and 14, Yamal 16 and 15, Pedri 10 and 8, 7 assists for Balde, Koundé 2 and 6, 9 for Araujo. Obviously, the bulk from Lewandowski. Firmin, 26 goal contributions, a man that I didn't even talk about, proving why he needs to be considered, as he does outperform Ronnie Bargi with 2 and 2. So Firmin really laying down a bit of a mark here, saying, I do exist, Josh, make sure you consider me, and I'm not going to let him go, so he can keep on fighting for that position. Now, where does this put me going into Season 2? Well, it puts me with a budget of about £49 million. It puts me in the mindset of definitely going to bring in Rashford. The fee in real life is about £30 to £40 million, so that is what I will pay for him. And then we are going to consider some players that we could potentially sell. Now, some of the players that I've looked at that have had links around them, obviously do include the likes of Eric Garcia as being number one. Obviously, Ansu Fati's going to go. You can then look at other players such as one of the goalkeepers. You know, we've got Ter Stegen, Chesney, Penna, and Astraga. Don't know how to say that. We don't need all of them. We can let some of those goalkeepers go. Of course, Chesney is retiring. So that is... Please tell me... No, he's fine. Ter Stegen's cool for a couple of years. So Chesney's gone. So that's a goalkeeper gone already with no money coming in. Other than that, I'll be open to offers for Torres. Other than that, I think I'm going to stick with what I have got, because every player in this team I want to keep apart from Garcia, which I can listen to offers. Other than that, you're going to probably see a very, very similar team. But we're going to get into Season 2 now, see what we can do with the transfers, see who we can sell, see who we can bring in. The one position that I really do need to think about a lot is striker. Because even if I'm going to sign Rashford regardless, but even if I sign him and a striker, Rashford can still play on the left and sort of alternate with Rafinha, because he done just as good as Rafinha without guaranteed game time. So he is really, really quite a good player. And on the left-hand side, he's actually a very, very good player. Well, outgoing one is going to be Ansu Fati. Now, I've only given myself 15 million because apparently the fee in real life would be 20 million euros. So I've given myself 15 million pounds. He's a player that's not even really done that well at Monaco, to be honest, and a player that simply is just, do you want to say unlucky? I know he had a few injuries when he was younger, pushed out the team a little bit. I don't really know, because he was one of them players that you could put on the same sort of conversation point. Not the same as Yamal, because Yamal's a very unique in his own league player, but he had such a bright future, and it is a shame that's not really worked out. But I'm here to win trophies, and I don't think he's going to play any key part in doing that. So for his sake and for my sake, I'll take the 50. Eric Garcia, we are going to sell to FC Bayern. Now, this was actually a deal that was done in the game, and there has been a couple of transfers done, both to Bayern, that were not made by me, obviously using the editor to make it realistic. So he has gone off his own accord for 40 million, and it's a very good move, to be honest. This guy has been blessed to play at 3 of the biggest teams in world football, in 3 different countries. He's living the dream footballing life. Now, I know I said I didn't really think he was much cop, but I would not have sold him off my own back. But Joan Garcia is going to be getting a move to Bayern for 17 million. Now, they're in desperate need of a goalkeeper in this game, and they spend pretty big, and they get a fantastic return. So, to be honest with you, I would not have made that decision because he's a new player in real life, but it happened sort of towards the end of the season. He wanted to go. It is what it is, you know. If a player who's not going to play wants to go, technically it is realistic to sell him. So goodbye to a very, very new face. Replace our centre-back crisis, as we do lose quite a few. We are going to bring in Diamande. Now, he comes in for 28 million, only plays 15 games. He's still a player who does very well, by the way, dropping a 7 rating. He's still a player that needs to prove himself. He's still young, he's only 23, but he's got so much going for him. He's a bit of a banker signing, and it's realistic because, you know, if you're still at Sporting in 2025 in the game, then it's anyone's business who's a top team, and a team that's just got to a Champions League final, won the Spanish league and is called Barcelona, he would obviously take the deal. So a very, very good player to bring in, and I'm buzzing to get him into, hopefully, even more games next year. Do confirm the signing of Marcus Rashford for 30 million, who improves significantly. 25 and 6. Now, why would he improve? Why do you potentially think he would improve? Because we did not sign a striker. I trusted Rashford for a season. Now, this is not a permanent solution, but I didn't want to go crazy. Now, we've spent 30 million on Rashford here, generated 84 million. On this page, spent 28, obviously profited 17. But overall, we have still sold more than what we have brought. And for the finances, that's essential. And we go right into the Champions League phase, and we are going to storm it. We do not lose a single game. The same goes for Inter Milan, Arsenal, and Tottenham, all going invincible, but we are going to top the charts there based off goal difference through to the round of 16, where we absolutely tear apart Chelsea 7-1. The quarter-final, bit closer, a little bit closer, 3-2 against the mighty Gunners. The semi-finals, 4-0 over City, bit of revenge for last year, and we're now playing a team which I believe, did they go invincible as well? They did. This is two of the best teams in Europe going face to face. And in big games, you need big players, and we have got a big player in Marcus Rashford, laying down the press, working hard, and getting the reward here, and making it 1-0 inside of 40 minutes, and that is exactly why I brought Marcus in, because he can score in big games, and this game was one-way traffic. We're going to go on to win the Champions League successfully in Season 2 by one of the worst own goals I've ever seen. So yeah, heartbreak last season, of course, the loss against Man City. This season is going to be triumph in 2-0 fashion. Spanish Super Cup we are going to claim this year as well, 2-1 over Real Madrid. So again, same as last year, a little bit of heartbreak, but this year we beat them by a goal. 2 goals from Rashford, who I will say it, was flying this year. So far, so good. As we go back-to-back in the league, once again only failing to pick up points from 3 of the games, which means 35 out of 38 games we are getting points from, and 32 out of 38 are 3 points per game, so we're absolutely flying. 1 point off the 100-point season. Marcus Rashford only a couple of goals behind Mbappe. He's really stepped up to the mark. You're going to see Rafinha and Pedri with the assists. Trent's flying at Madrid, I will be honest with you. Ter Stegen having a great season. Yamal, our best performer. And overall, the goal output, a lot of it is dominantly done by Marcus Rashford. Of course, you are going to have Yamal here with 16. You've got Olmo with 15. But the bulk load of goals is being done by the Englishman, which is a pretty big achievement. It was a big gamble to have him up front. Now, this means if we have won the Spanish Cup, we have done the quadruple, not the treble, the quadruple in Season 2. We don't. Real Madrid are going to knock us out by in extra time as well. That's a little bit annoying. But how can I be too annoyed? We have won the league, the Champions League, and the Super Cup in, so I'm going to see Season 3 then, in Season 2. Now, this is good in terms of the trophies, but it also means that I'm only 2 seasons in. I've now won a treble, and I now need to carry on winning trophies, really a minimal of a treble a season, so I don't technically fall off. So a lot of pressure being applied, and hopefully we've got a budget to do it. We have got a mega budget. We've got 202 million. The club has halved its debt already, and I could not be more proud of some of these players. If we filter by the best 11 right now, let's go and see what we've got. So we've got Rashford, 35 and 7. Is he a permanent striker solution? He is not. If there's a right striker on the market, I will get him in. I want a bit of a Spanish vibe, or someone from the Spanish league. Just someone, I don't really know who I want, to be honest, but someone like a Lewandowski, a big figure who, you know, there's not tons of them on the market. So for now, Rashford will remain in the team. Rafinha, 48 goal contributions, a significant improvement from his first season. Olmo, great, 18 and 15. Yamal, 22 and 13. Pedri, 13 and 22. Gavi, 6 and 6. Balde, 2 and 7. Araujo, 8 and 11. And 7 goals from the centre-backs combined. What's interesting in this team, guys? Frankie de Jong doesn't make the cut because Gavi and Pedri have now locked in their dominance in those positions. Torres also had a great season, 12 and 7, really good performance. Frankie de Jong he's wanted by the Saudi League. He is now not playing every single game. And is there a world where de Jong, maybe his time's up at Barcelona? I'm not going to say yes, I'm not going to say no, but I will have a meeting with Saudi and see exactly how things go with that deal. We've got 1 and 1 for Martin, Casado 2 and 6, Bargy 4 and 3, so a little bit of a bigger improvement. You will be pleased to know that he is getting more and more game time, so we are giving him the chance to really shine. 8 and 3 for Furman, really good performance. Burnow not really playing too many games, same with Hector Fort, but overall this team's doing a really good job, and so far so good. I mean, we're already won, what, 5 trophies if I'm not mistaken? It's a really good couple of debut seasons. So let's get into season 3 with pretty much all of our eggs going in the basket of signing a striker, but he has to be a bit of a brute, someone with a little bit of physicality, because he is going to play in that complete forward role where he does link up the play, hold up the play, and yeah, almost like a Harry Kane vibe. I'm not going to sign Harry Kane because it's not realistic, but someone like that, you know, just a bit of a powerful striker. We have brought in, well, sold no players, we've brought in 3 players. The first one is going to be Samu. Now, he meets what I'm after. A little bit of strength, well, a lot of strength, actually. 16 strength, good work rate, good off-the-ball work, decent link-up player, pretty quick as well. A bit of an well, he's just a powerhouse up front. He scores 27 goals in 32 games. Of course, played a lot of football in Spain, so very realistic to get him back into the league. Very realistic in the sense of if he was told you can be Barcelona's main man up front, a team that has just won the Champions League and the Spanish League, of course he would come. So a very realistic signing and a player that I think will suit this team really well. And for the price tag of 43 million, I don't think we've been done badly there at all. Still had a bit of a centre-back crisis in terms of depth, and we are going to spend quite big on bringing in Scalvini. He comes in for 69 million, 11 goals. They're the set pieces coming in, 38 appearances and a 7.39 average rating. Now, he was still at Atalanta, probably begging for an upgrading club, begging for a chance to win a real big trophy, and that's exactly why I've come knocking. And you know what? He'll get into the team without any questions asked. As for this guy, he cost me a lot of money, 27, so a bit on the older side, but again, a player that was stuck at PSV, probably wants a bigger move. I spend 62 million on bringing in Ismail, 4 goals, 2 assists, and a player that is just there to be there for when Olmo isn't. You know, he can play on the left as well. A very well-rounded player. One of a bit of a more unique signings that I rarely make, but I felt like it was realistic based off where he was at, and based off that step up that he's never had in his career. He's never played for a real top European side. PSV are in the Dutch league, but, you know, a real Champions League competitor side. And I think with these 3 signings of 174 million, to clarify, I think there's not a world where we don't manage to beat our treble winning record, or at least maintain it. So let's go in to season 3 with a new midfielder, a new centre-back, and a new striker. And things are looking good, especially in the league, because we now pick up points from 37 out of 38 games. 109 points. Rafinha, 21 assists. Dani Olmo, 16. Pedri, 14. Ter Stegen, 17 clean sheets. 4 players in the average rating. Rafinha and Samu are going to be in the top goal scorers, and we have got a lot of presence in the goal scoring ranks. And if we've played like this in the rest of the competitions, the other teams may as well stay at home. And we're off to back-to-back Champions League finals, this time against Tottenham, so it should be a bit of an easier game. And it would have been if Gavi didn't have an absolute meltdown and give Tottenham a goal in 27 minutes. And apparently Tottenham have turned into a European powerhouse as we lose the Champions League final to Spurs. As we lose the Super Cup against Frankfurt. We have really turned off the gas, haven't we? We have turned off the gas because we are going to lose to Zaragoza in the 4th round of the Spanish Cup, which is just not acceptable at all. I mean, they're a team in the Spanish 2nd Division who finished 4th. They don't even get promoted, and we're losing to them. Now, we do win the Spanish Super Cup 2-1 over Real Madrid, but that's a trophy less, you know? Only 2 trophies this season. The Spanish First League, the Spanish Super Cup, should have won the Champions League. I mean, who did we beat to get there? We beat Inter Milan 8-4, the quarterfinals 6-1, the round of 16 5-2 over Napoli, the league phase we nearly go invincible, so we just bottled the final. It's as simple as that, which is not good to see at all. So pretty gutted about that, to be honest. I mean, we did bring in a fair few players, but the only real switch who played a lot of the games is Samu, who done very, very well. And Rashford still got game time. He scored 17 and 3. Samu 39 and 5. Rafinha 31 and 26. Olmo 20 and 23. Yamal 16 and 20. Pedri with 44. Gavi with 13. Torres with 10. This isn't a drop-off in performance. The players are doing significantly well. Scalvini's come in and been one of our better players in the whole team. So this is purely just getting, not unlucky, but not dealing with finals that well. The Super Cup against Frankfurt, we should be beating. This is just a miracle game from Zaragoza. The league we've still done very well in, but it's a bit gutting not to win at least a treble. So get back quickly on top and win a treble next season, because I don't want to see this again. With Barcelona, we're absolutely flying. When it comes to the money, we are going to have a budget of 226 million. Debts and loans are still going down. So despite a big transfer window, the debts are still being taken care of. And realistically, is this a time when now we sell De Jong? Potentially. Isn't now the time where we look to sell, you know, the likes of, I mean, you've got Fort, you've got Torres, you know, you've got some players in here who maybe we could move on. I'm honestly not too sure. You've got ter Stegen, who is getting older. He's now 36. Do we welcome in a bit of a younger, pretty experienced goalkeeper like Trubin, Diogo Costa, a player that would snap a move to a top team? That's up for debate. What I will say is De Jong, I'm very open to selling, because I think we can sell him and either just have the players we have got, and then it gives a bigger chance to the likes of Casado, Firmin, and of course down here we've got Bernal, or we could even sign somebody. So yeah, things could be about to get very interesting, especially if you're a De Jong fan. Well, we are going to cash in on Frankie De Jong, and we're going to get 74 million. Now, his value is worth a little bit more, but I didn't want to go too crazy, so I give him just a little bit less than actually what we spent on him. A very, very fair price. Of course, his value at the moment is upwards of 100 million, and I only sold him because he wasn't really playing as much. He's 32. He's been at Barcelona now for what? So many years. He's had a very, very good run, and I think that final paycheck of 800k a week, it could be pretty tempting in real life. Now, in real life, he could get a move to another European club, but I'm unsure on what club he would potentially go to. But I think later on down the line, there will be a move in there, especially if they fail to win stuff. And yeah, there is no other signings being made. We have not signed a single player. We've offloaded and stuck with what we have got, because I want to give these three a bit more time to gel. I think if I introduce loads of more players, that's when issues are going to come in. So we've kept it pretty humble. Very humble. And it clearly has worked quite well, because we're going to be league winners again. That is now going to be 4 times on the bounce of our own and 5 overall, including their league win. And we're seeing a big improvement in the players gelling. Samu, Yamal, 25-21. Olmo, Rafinha, 19-15. Yamal, Rafinha, Danny, Samu in the average rating. Ter Stegen, the most clean sheets. A really good season. A few more draws creeping in there against some pretty big teams, to be fair to us. And only 1 loss against Sevilla, who have a great season, finishing 3rd and outplacing Real Madrid. So Madrid having a stinker of a season, currently managed by Conte, which is something I never thought I would see. So so far so good, but this is what happened last year, and we fell off quite quickly. Spanish Cup final against Real Madrid, a chance to try and win our 2nd trophy this year, and it's a great start from Pedri inside of 18 minutes. A great chip ball over, and we are absolutely flying. Rafinha down the left-hand side, running at the back line, carries on the run through to Olmo, into Lamine, Yamal, and that is going to be 2 in 29 minutes. And the only thing Real Madrid can do is get, I'm not going to say luck because it's our fault, it's a poor throw-in. Martinez picks up the ball into Camavinga, ball back into Mbappe, he does his thing, but that's all they could do. We walk away with a 2-1 win. Also lift the Spanish Super Cup 3-1 over Sevilla, which means we have done the Spanish treble, and the Champions League is all to play for, because if we win that, we have done that quadruple. Let's see what we can do. The league phase we have done really, really strong, really, really well. We've won 7 games here against some pretty big teams. The round of 16, we are going to be AC Milan just. It's a little bit worrying because we're already struggling to get past the knockout stages. Very, very close games, as this is also a very close game against Tottenham Hotspur, the previous winners of the Champions League. The semi-finals, we do have a bit more of a comfortable lead against Atletico Madrid, and we face up against Man City, who famously beat us in the first season, who still have the likes of Haaland playing for them. They've got Bellingham, they've got Saka, they've got everyone. Despite having a World 11, their goal comes, and their winning goal comes, from a Rodri header. And do stick around to see this bit, because look at the team they have got. Donnarumma, Rico Lewis, Diaz, Dean Henderson, Gvardiol, Rodri, Bellingham, Foden, Saka, Vinicius, Haaland. I mean, where does it stop? We come against a super team, and that is a ridiculous super team. No wonder why Madrid have fallen down. They've lost Bellingham and they've lost Vinicius. So a very, very good couple of players to lose there. And we paid the price by playing them in the final, where we did play quite well. We just lost to a set piece, which, looking at their team on paper, is, well, an absolute miracle. Is Pep still running that show? I guarantee he is, isn't he? Is Pep still there? He is still there, love and life. I mean, their team on paper is absolutely nuts. They've got Stiller, Reinders on the bench, Naipan. Yeah, they are absolutely love and life, aren't they? Of course, Premier League winners as well. But we can be happy with that season. It's a Spanish treble, and it gives me one more season to roll that dice and try and finally win the complete quadruple package with a budget of £339 million with zero debt. So this club has been cleaned of debt and given a big green flag to go and spend as much as we need to try and get this, well, dream achieved. Now, the players, they've not dropped off once, to be honest with you. I mean, Rashford's still doing it, 12-1, 5-5 for Firmin, 18-24 for Olmo. You've got 38-12 for Samu, Rafinha 23-18. Very interesting that this man, Ismail, is now actually getting into the first team, which is quite cool to see. 9-8. Yamal, very, very good season. 48 goal contributions. Pedri, 19-16. Balde and Araujo have been fantastic wing-backs right from day one. The issue is we have got one player in Ter Stegen wanted by a Saudi team, 2 players in Araujo wanted by a Saudi team, 3 players in Yamal wanted by Tottenham, who are a team to be taken seriously in this game, 4th player Rafinha wanted by a Saudi team, Penna I'm not too fussed about, Olmo, Saudi, Diamande, Atletico, Fort, Spezia. So a lot of players in our, well, winning team, they could be tempted here because some of these players are at the sort of end of their careers where a paycheck might look quite tempting. The only one that I'm very surprised if he would go would be Yamal, because he's pretty much the poster boy here. So for the last transfer window, we are going to welcome in 2 new players. The first one is going to be Lamine Camara. Now, he's a very, very good player from Monaco. Still 26 years of age, so he's got a lot of fuel left in the tank. Very well-rounded, very versatile, and a player that I think is just going to help us replace that De Jong void. He can cover a lot of positions, 54 million. As I mentioned, he's a very good player, but he's not guaranteed game time in a sense of starting the games, but just to fill a bit of an area on the pitch which we might be short in. If Gavi, Pedri, Olmo, Ismail gets injured, having a player like this who can just sort of ping about all of them is actually really, really helpful. And the final signing of today's video is going to be Diogo Costa. 33 million, still at Porto, very realistic. If this man was still stuck at Porto, of course they would get him. They've also got a habit of signing older, experienced goalkeepers, Chesney, for example, so it does sort of match into that pattern. And for 33 million, you can't really complain. 16 clean sheets, a great first performance, and to be honest with you guys, the windows we have been great from Season 1. Season 1, of course, we welcomed in Marcus Rashford. We sold Christiansen, Ansu Fati, and also Garcia. Very good window. Season 2, Diamande, great signing. Joan Garcia, not my choice, but technically realistic because he isn't going to be playing games and therefore you wouldn't keep him. Season 3, really like this window because we got rid of De Jong, who's getting a little bit older now, and we brought in 3 very game-changing players. Season 4, very, very quiet. That was the window where I only really sold De Jong technically and brought in no one. And Season 5, well, that's up for debate, isn't it? Because we've not even seen the results. But we go in absolutely flying into the Champions League final against Liverpool, who have signed Marcus Thuram, and Florian Wirtz is actually playing well in the game, unlike real life, and it is going to be a 1-0 lead in 43 minutes. So definitely a bit more of a test this year. Rafinha, a great ball in, a good equaliser there from Samu. That is what I want to be seeing. Him from set pieces should be lethal. And do you know what? Despite a very, very poor start, I'll word it harshly, but it is the truth, we bring this game back and win another Champions League, finally. And this has been a very interesting competition for us, hasn't it, this whole rebuild, really, because we have got to several finals. We've actually got to... It's crazy. We have actually got to every final since playing this entire rebuild, but only won 2 of them. So definitely could have asked for more in that, in my opinion, especially in the losses against Tottenham. We could have done really well and actually won 3 there. But we are going to wrap up the last season with a Champions League banger. League, I have got no queries in because we have won that now 5 times, 6 times in a row if you include the one they won in real life. And to be honest with you, we've not had an invincible season, but I don't really care because we have won it 5 years back to back. And this has been done by using a lot of their core players. You know, we've been very sensible by not bringing in loads and loads of new faces. Very few changes around the whole team. And that is what I think is the best decision. It's realistic to use Gavi, Pedri, Olmo, Rafinha, Yamal, Koundé, these sorts of players. And quite clearly in the league, that's only done well, hasn't it? Being honest, that's done very, very well. So far, 2 trophies won this year. As we are going to be in the Spanish Cup final against Real Hasparlis. A bit of an easier final, or is it? Because they have got Anthony, basically Neymar, and that is going to be a great goal there inside of 16 minutes to make them go 1-0 up. But realistically, banter aside, it is an easier final. Lamine Yamal on the ball, pass Ezabdi into Araujo, over the top into Samu, who actually, I mean, that is a ridiculous header, loops the goalkeeper and equalises 10 minutes after. And about 7 minutes apart from that goal, Dani Olmo puts a great ball in the box, a little bit of a poor clearance from them, Pedri on the edge, touch, pause and engage, and that is going to be a 2-1 advantage going into the second half where we win the final, 3-1 from another Samu set piece. That wins us another Spanish Cup, which is a total of 3 times in 5 years, which I can accept. Sadly, we don't win the quadruple. We're runners-up in the Spanish Super Cup. We have won this 3 times, to be fair, but we lose by a goal. That is the frustrating thing, because it would have been nice to win 1 quadruple, but clearly it was not meant to be today. But we can still be happy. We've done a very, very good job of rebuilding Barcelona. We look into the club info. They've got that perfect reputation now. The club, the trophies are maxed out. You know, we can't go any higher. We've done such a real good job. And looking at what we have done in terms of their finances, debts and loans have completely been taken care of, so that is a big achievement in itself over 5 years, on top of winning all the trophies we have won and leaving them with a realistic and future-proofed incredible team. And again, if you want to carry on this save file, grab the tactic, you can go and get it on the Patreon. I only mention it because right now there's 40% off before FM26, so if you want to lock yourself in to get all of the best tactics for FM26 and you want a very good discounted price, today is your day. But looking at this team, we've done a great job. We've got a nice mixture of players, a nice mixture of current Barcelona players that are their future. Yamal, Pedri, Gavi, Balde, those sorts of players. We've stuck with a couple of their older heads, Koundé, Araujo, Rafinha. We've stuck with them, Dani Olmo as well. We have done a really good job, and I think I'm going to rate this rebuild a solid 8 out of 10. Despite not winning the quadruple, that would have boosted it to that 10, to be honest. But every signing we have made has played their part, and yeah, really nice to see that this man, Marcus Rashford, had a really good time. Only 1 real quiet season, so who knows, maybe he is Barcelona through and through. Be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you have enjoyed that much, and if you've enjoyed it that much, you can also whack on the bell so you never miss another video. I'll catch you in the next one.